Down. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that I share a lot of different types of content. And it's usually the stuff that I'm interested in, stuff that relates to the Black community. Sometimes it's stuff that's just funny or interesting, but also things that are that relate to things indirectly to our economics. Like so, for example, there was something where there was a teacher who was very honest about what's going on with our children. She really said that a lot of times it's parents. She said that we she said out of 28 kids in her class, about 24, 23 or 24 of them are not at grade level. And she talked about how tough it is to deal with parents who just don't give a damn about their kids or don't have the interest or the maturity to even push to invest in education when it comes to their own children. And I thought about that and I said, it's really important that we have a balanced conversation about this. You guys have heard me talk about, how these schools are, how trillions of dollars is lost in the Black community every generation because of what happens in the educational system. Well, I think it's very important to make it clear that it's not just the teachers, it's not just the schools, not just the administrators. You got a lot of parents out here that are more likely to be able to recite a Cardi B lyric than they are to be able to actually tell you what's going on with their child at school. More likely to show up to a Beyonce concert than they are to show up to a PTA meeting, or maybe fathers that are more likely to go out chasing women than they are to actually spend time helping their kids with their homework. So this is really I think this goes back to what I said before, that it takes a village to destroy a child. And we are the village, and we are part of the village anyway. I think America is part of that whole village. And so at the end of the day, it's really something where it's going to require a really honest, hard conversation to solve this issue. It's not something that can be done, through the lens of American politics, because American politics, I think, dumbs down the Black experience. I think American politics dumbs down the experience of just all people. And then what I mean by that when I say it dumbs down, it means it like sort of creates these narratives where there's a good guy and a bad guy, right? Where it's 100% clear who's good and who's evil. It's racism, it's white supremacy, it's this, it's that, And then on the right, of course, they do a really good job of kind of vilifying people, who have been harmed by society, right? So they make it simple as well. I don't think it's ever that simple. And I think that in order for us to be able to solve a problem like that, we're going to have to really have a hard conversation that's probably going to end up upsetting some people. And so let me share this video with you. And then actually, by the way, toward the end, I'll share a link to some stocks. I know you guys are stock market investors. I hope that you are. You should be. And I have a list of 10 stocks that you can buy for under $10 that can get you started on your investing journey. And that'll be something that just something that I wanted to throw at you so that you could go ahead and get started and get moving. And these are companies that I like, that I personally I've invested in some of them, not all of them, but I vetted them. I sort of looked at the stocks, and remember, with stock market investing, it's not a quick money thing. It's not something where you put money in and then money comes out like a casino. It's something where it's long-term growth. It's like growing a tree in your backyard. If you plant a tree on Tuesday, you should not expect the tree to be a full-grown tree by Friday. Sometimes it takes months, maybe years for it to get there. So most of the time, Warren Buffett has a saying where he says that if you're not prepared to own a stock for 10 years, you shouldn't even own it for 10 minutes. So this long-term wealth building thing, it's not fast money, it's slow money, but the slow money is the sturdy money. The fast money, that's the Diddy money, right? Anybody remember Diddy? I can't help it. I'm sorry, it just lends itself to so many examples about life. But remember, Diddy became very rich and very powerful very quickly. If you remember, he got that fast money. He was 23, 24 years old, and people were like, "How did you become an executive so fast?" Well, it's just hard work, yo, hard work. Well, no hard work, man. You was up there in Clyde Davis's office doing only God knows what, and somebody put you at the front of the line because of that. And here I was sitting there at 20, 22, 23 years old. I'm up in grad school, struggling through my classes, broke as hell, thinking about where I'm going to be in 15 years. this guy's already at the top of the world at the age of 22, 23, 24 years old, and it can make you feel bad. Like I think a lot of young people, they get a double dose of that where they feel very bad because they're like, gosh, I'm 27 and I'm working hard every day at my job. I'm doing it the honest way. Well, the reason you might be tempted to feel bad is because all these people on Instagram that are flashing that money, a lot of them are lying to you. Number one, that's the first thing. Number two, a lot of them may be getting that fast money that's not the safe money. They may be getting the fast money that's the unethical money. They may be getting the fast money that's the illegal money. There was two Instagram influencers who used to do videos where they would show themselves shopping and taking these expensive vacations and carrying Birkin bags and all that. And then they got indicted. They were transporting cocaine across state lines or something. And yeah, that'll get you a Birkin bag. It'll also get you, 20 to 30 in the federal pen or whatever. And so really I would just say to you that doing things the right way, doing things the consistent way, doing things the sturdy way, that is typically the best way to go. Doesn't mean that sometimes you won't luck out, something good may happen. But at the same time, when I've seen real money get built, real wealth get built, generational wealth get built, it's something that comes from consistency, hard work, and longevity. That's what gets you the success typically in this world and beyond. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share this clip. I guess you can call me Clippy today because I literally have a couple of clips I want to share that just were on my mind this morning when I woke up. And I'm just going to tell you, I'm going to fess up right now. I was not in the 5 a.m. club. Don't tell my wife. I'm traveling because I came down to see my mama. And I think I got up, shoot, I think I slept until about 8:30. So that's like a vacation for me. So I gotta kind of get it back together now, but it's all good though. All right. So here is the first clip. Let me know if you can hear it. I'm gonna share the sound, and this is from that teacher. And I want to say I appreciate this. I don't know who this lady is, but I appreciate her giving the perspective because I think we got to respect our teachers. But check this out. Here we go. Uh-oh. Wait, hold on. There's no audio here. Why is there no audio? There we go, because I didn't hit the audio button. Here we go. All right.
I have ever had as a teacher. Reason being, I have a classroom full of 28 kids and 22 of them are not performing on grade level. The biggest factor in whether your child succeeds or not, or whether a child succeeds or not, is not the teacher, it's the parent. Right now in my class, I have two students with the exact same situation. Single mother, live in a low socioeconomic area, but one student is performing on a kindergarten level and the other is performing on a mid fourth grade level. They had the same teachers, they've been in the same class since they started elementary school and now they're in third grade. And the biggest difference is parent engagement and interaction. This child mama, she's not working with them at home. This child's mama is finding a way to work with them at home. Both of them have had the same teachers, same classes, same education since kindergarten, but one has fallen behind and the other one is doing exponentially better than the other. If that doesn't show you that parent interaction and engagement and actually sitting down at the table with your child, doing homework with them is so important, I don't know what will. Honestly, this is a cry for help. We need you all. We need parents to be working with kids at home. They're not going to get it at school all the time. It doesn't work like that. I wish it did, but we need this year, I would definitely say, is the hardest year I have ever had as a teacher. Reason being, I have a classroom full of 28 kids and 22 of them are not performing on grade level. The biggest factor in whether your child succeeds or not, or whether a child succeeds or not, is not the teacher, it's the parent. Right now in my class, I have two students with the exact same situation. Single mother, live in a low socioeconomic area, but one student is performing on a kindergarten level and the other is performing on a mid fourth grade level. They had the same teachers, they've been in the same class since they started elementary school and now they're in third grade. And the biggest difference is parent engagement and interaction. This child mama, she's not working with them at home. This child's mama is finding a way to work with them at home. Both of them have had the same teachers, same classes, same education since kindergarten, but one has fallen behind and the other one is doing exponentially better than the other. If that doesn't show you that parent interaction and engagement and actually sitting down at the table with your child, doing homework with them is so important, I don't know what will. Honestly, this is a cry for help. We need you all. We need parents to be working with kids at home. They're not going to get it at school all the time. It doesn't work like that. I wish it did, but we need this year, I would definitely say, is the hard.
Okay. All right, I'm done. I played it twice because we didn't get to hear the whole video from the beginning. And I want to just say thank you to this young lady for doing the video. I want to say thank you to all the teachers, social workers, counselors, coaches, mentors, parents, anybody who gets what she's saying and who is helping to fight the battle. I want to thank you too. You are the heroes in the Black community. I told you I don't care about the politicians and God bless Kamala and everybody else, but the people that are actually sitting there and investing. I'm gonna use that word carefully. Investing. Y'all know from being in this class that most investing does not involve money. Most investing involves things like people. So I want to say thank you to those of you who are investing in our children. I see Naomi says she's a school psychologist. Thank you for investing in our children. Naomi is giving 40, 50, 60 hours a week to our children. That's called investing. You got parents, mothers, fathers that are sitting with their kids at the dinner table. That's called investing. When you are spending time in the Black community with Black people, helping Black people do better and be better, that's called investing. Now, I want you to look around society and I want you to look at all the people that we look up to, we admire. Like, for example, we think, we admire Kamala because she's going to be president. I think she's going to win. She may not, who knows? Um, but is she investing in a Black child every day? Is she investing in Black people every day? No, she's investing in the United States, and bless her for that. I think that being president is a patriotic thing to do. It's hard. It's a hard job, but that's not the same as investing in the Black community. It's like when you put a drug in the body to heal the body. There's some drugs that are just generic that aren't going to have much of an effect. But there's some drugs where you put that drug straight to the bloodstream, you go right to the source, you go right to the problem. That drug is 10 times more effective. So if you talk about the problems in our community and you see that as an illness, uh, those of you that are spending time around our people are going right to the bloodstream. I talk to you directly because I want to go right to the bloodstream. I'm not trying to be on CNN. I'm not trying to be up at Yale University. I'm not trying to be I'm not trying to be vice president of the United States because that would dilutes and distracts from the purpose. I want to go right to the bloodstream. So I talk to you and your kids every morning because I'm like thinking to myself, if I go right to the bloodstream and give you the purest form of the best drug that you could ever have, and I call it a drug because it's something to heal, right? I want to give you the best. I want to give you cutting edge financial knowledge every day. Drill that in right to the bloodstream. That's going to have the greatest probability of elevating the community. So those school teachers that are fighting the battle, I admire them because all the studies are showing that teachers are quitting. Have y'all seen this? Give me a yes if you've seen this. Give me a yes or no. Has anybody noticed that how all the teachers, so many teachers are like, I ain't doing this stuff no more. I'm out of here, man. A lot of doctors are actually quitting as well because the insurance companies have made being a doctor no fun. You're just regurgitating drugs that they want you to prescribe to people. So I know a lot of doctors that are quitting too. And this is all connected to the economics. It's that capitalism thing, right? There are people that are so focused on making the money they don't care about the people anymore. So lots of teachers are quitting because nobody wants to go to class and possibly get beat up by their student. Nobody wants to go and try to mentor children where the parents are going to cuss you out. Nobody wants to go into a space where you're going to be underpaid, overworked, mistreated, disrespected, and not given proper support for the things you want to do. I bet you anything that there are thousands of teachers in this world, in white, Black and otherwise, who know exactly what the kids need. They know what the kids need. They just can't give it to them because the systems get in the way, right? The systems. Lost anyway. I like this lady's video because she just basically took it into her own hands. I think this is time for vigilante style repair for the Black community. Vigilante style means breaking out of the system and doing what needs to be done. And she said, I'm gonna go to Instagram. I'm just gonna go to Instagram, make this video, and who knows, maybe some weirdo like Dr. Boyce Watkins is gonna find my video and put it on his Instagram page. I have about 114,000 followers now. I built up back up a little bit. I had 700,000, but they killed my page, so we're rebuilding. And then maybe other people are gonna see it because there are people out there that care about our children, people that care about our people. So I like this lady's video, and I love what she was saying. I thought it was great. And I want to circle back to that point about investing in our kids. What she's basically saying is something similar to what I've said before. So I'm not going to belabor this point. But she basically said, if you invest in your child's going to be more successful. And I understand why some parents don't want to help the kids with the homework because you're tired, right? You're at work all day. You done gave you're drained. You're drained, right? 'Cause you got to pay bills and you come home and you're exhausted and maybe you're a single parent and that's just hard. But I want to kind of break down some of the dynamics of this so that hopefully you'll pass the game on to the children that in your family, younger people in your family. And if you are young enough where you're still making these decisions about family and education, you can take some of this and apply this. This is the knowledge that I hope will be intergenerational. I, I'm good at dissecting things. I'm good at breaking things down. So here's what I'm breaking down for you. Give me a yes if you agree with me that spending time with your child is going to make them better off in the world. That they're going to be happier, more successful, they're going to understand things, they're going to be just safer, better off, period. Okay. All right, so we agree on that. All right. So we agree that investing in our children is critical for building a better community, period. All right. So what's happened here? What is she saying here? What she's saying is that there's a deficiency where you've got all these kids, and it's not just in her class, it's millions of classrooms across America, where the majority of black children are not, she's talking about black, I believe she's talking about black children. I just felt it in my bones. Um, are not able to read, write, and do math at grade level. And she's saying that the reason that they're not getting what they need is because there is a deficiency in investment, almost like a vitamin deficiency in the body, right? If you don't have enough vitamin D or enough zinc or enough vitamin C or whatever, then you're going to have deficiencies. You're going to get sick, you get a cancer, you're going to get anemia or something, right? Because you have a deficiency. So these kids are struggling because they have a deficiency of investment. No one's spending the time to educate them and prepare them for school. Well, why is that not happening? Well, what she said is that she says you got two samples. You got one kid with a single mother whose mother is investing in him. He's doing extremely well. The other kid whose mother isn't investing in him is struggling. Okay, so let's look at the struggling kid. Let's figure this out. Let's solve the mystery. We're gonna do a Scooby Doo mystery, and again, I'm a mathematician, so when you solve a problem, what you do is you dissect it and you break it down into little pieces. So here, this kid is struggling because nobody's investing in him. The teacher's doing her best, but the teacher says, look, I can't work with a defective product. She's like a doctor who says, look, if you show up in my office and you're unhealthy, I can't help you. There's nothing I can do. So what's going on? What has likely occurred that has created a world where this child is deficient because he does not have adequate investment? Um, well, it's probably because his mother, maybe she's just tired, right? She goes to work, she works all day, probably works a double shift, 13 hours a day. She's tired, she comes home, babe, just go in your room, right? So that could be happening. Okay. So why is that happening? Well, why does that occur? Why is the mother so tired that she can't spend time with her own child, her own flesh and blood, the most important asset in her life? To make sure that he's ready for the world. I'm sure she loves her son. If you said, "Hey, do you want your son to grow up and be uneducated and financially desperate? Do you want him having to go to Diddy parties in order to pay the rent? Do you want your son selling himself into slavery to some abusive white man who's going to mistreat him and stress him out and traumatize him to the point where he's got to drink himself to sleep every night and think about killing, offing himself because he hates his life so much? No, I don't want that for my baby. So I bet you she doesn't want that. I bet she doesn't want this to happen for her son. So I don't think she's being malicious. She just maybe hasn't thought about these things. I have no idea. But this is what happens. This is what happens. You have a lot of economically desperate young people out here who don't know what to do. right? They're not prepared for the world. The world is hard. The world is complex. Nobody trained them up. Nobody got them ready. It's like showing up to the Super Bowl and you ain't even got no pads. You ain't got no helmet. You don't know. You ain't never seen a football before. You don't know if you show up at the Super Bowl and you have never trained to play football, you're going to be killed on the football field. Right? That's it. You're going to be killed. So that's what's going to happen. He's going to show up for the game of life, which is a game of competitive, cutthroat economics, where those who are not prepared get pushed into slavery, meaning black boys. Either you're going to be somebody's employee, somebody's dog. Sometimes you get treated like a dog, or you're going to be somebody's prison inmate, which you really get treated like a dog, maybe even get sexually assaulted, or whatever, or you just be in the street, right? We don't want that for our sons, but this is what happens all the time. And the reason is, I think, because we don't think through the process. So, how did we get to the point where this child does not get the investment that he needs? Okay, mama's tired. Why is mama tired? Well, because mama is in a position, unfortunately, where she has to give her best to her boss. All the energy that could have been poured into her son has been poured into her employer, right? That's partly a values issue because I told you we love white people, we worship them. But part of it is a necessity issue. Because if you were to say, well, why would you give more energy to your boss than to your son? Uh, she would say, well, because I got bills to pay. That's our number one answer for pretty much every problem that stresses us is I got bills to pay. Okay, I get it. Um, because here's what's interesting. Pay attention now. This is what's fascinating to me. If she were to give her son probably just 10% of the energy that she gives her boss, her son would be making straight A's, right? Her son would be well adjusted. He'd feel loved. He'd feel empowered. He'd be ready for school every day. Think about it. I want you to think about this. You give the boss 10 hours a day, 8 hours at work, 2 hours preparing for work, getting ready for work, driving to work, driving home from work. So you're giving your boss 10 hours a day, but your son can't even get 10 minutes. I told y'all the way investing works is the things you pour into are the things that will succeed. If you don't put energy into it, then it will not succeed. You must pour energy into things if you want them to be successful. That's it. Things with no energy can't move. They fail. So so we're in this crazy situation, and this happens in millions of households where we are giving 1,000 times more energy to our racist employer who don't give a damn about black people, who's never going to pour into your family, who's taking all your excess time and pouring it into his own family wealth. But then your own baby sitting there, failing in school, preparing to be a McDonald's employee and preparing to struggle for the rest of his life because nobody gave him the time. That's a problem. That requires a discussion. Let's go deeper. Let's go deeper down the rabbit hole. I like to dissect things. Okay. So how did you end up in that situation where you had to do that? Because I know you love your child. I'm not accusing you of not loving your child. I will say that perhaps on a subconscious level, maybe we honor our boss more than we honor our kids. Because I told you, to me, it's very logical that black children are our most valuable asset, but I don't think everybody agrees with that. I think a lot of people think that corporate job or that career that we have is our most valuable asset. That's not your most valuable asset. It's really your children. It's really your family. It's your community. Okay. So how did you end up in that situation where you had to do that? Well, if you look at most studies, they will show you that the lowest net worth in America is that of a single black mother with children. She has the lowest median net worth in the entire country. Um, that's because, it's hard out here. And really raising a child is kind of a two-person job, at least two, sometimes three, two parents and the grandparent. Um, and unfortunately, we're not taught that at an early age and really have that reinforced at an early age. I think that we're given a lot of interesting ideas like live your best life, or some elements of feminism, unfortunately, kind of push that whole strong independent woman narrative and everything else. And I don't think that benefits us. I really don't. I don't think that was designed to help us. Because here's the deal. Me and my wife have three children in our house, And to keep those children in line and to keep up with them, there's four of us that all work together to make this happen. Me, their mother, their biological father, and the grandma. And we've run into many situations where we had to put grandma on the phone to set one of the kids straight. Or I had to say to the child, I'm calling your dad. Me and your dad are going to have a talk about this. And this required a type of conscientiousness where we just said, "Look, we got to be on the same page. It's extremely important that all four of us are on the same page so we can all work together to make sure these children get what they need. The children are the number one priority." That was the agreement that we all made from the very beginning. And so the teamwork, so I want you to think about this. We're doing this job with four people. There are a lot of people that are doing that same job with one person. Where it's one person is making all the money, one person is spending all the time, one person is preparing all the kids for school, one person is dealing with all the crises, one person is dealing with everything. And not only is that hard as hell, but it's very, very risky because nobody ever asked that question like, well, what happens if that one person dies? What happens if mama just, gets hit by a milk truck that day? Or mama just doesn't wake up that morning, or mama gets cancer, or mama gets a heart attack, right? Like I'm not putting that on, I'm not trying to scare anybody, but I don't think we think about that. That's in finance, they would call that a risk assessment. In banking, they will refer to that as a stress test. A stress test is where you take your system that you have in place and you try different scenarios. You lay out different scenarios where you just change the variables and you say, okay, if mama's dead, what does that look like? Where do the kids go? Who's going to pay the bills? Is there any money coming to the kids? Like, what does that look like? And I would encourage you in your current life to do a stress test to just say, okay, what happens if somebody's not here anymore? What happens if mama's gone? Or what happens if daddy's not here? Right? That's very important. I know I said milk truck, Gigi. Don't make fun of me. I just think I don't know. For some reason, milk trucks make everything funny. Anyway, but it's not funny, right? It's not funny. It's funny, but not funny. So here's the thing. Um, that stress test is basically what you might call risk assessment. I've talked to you all about investing, and remember, with children, when you raise children, you are an investor, uh, and you have to assess risk in those situations. So that might mean if you realize that everything will fall apart if mama dies, then you make sure mama has plenty of insurance and that there's a clear plan on exactly what's going to happen with the children in case mama ain't here. But remember, they say that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Sometimes the best way to solve a problem is to prevent the problem, right? So let's really talk about this. This single mom who is forced to be the breadwinner and the nurturer and the provider for the household in all things emotional, financial, and otherwise. Um, I'm gonna say that that is not the best way to raise children in general, right? The best way to raise children is because last time I checked, it takes two people to make a baby. I don't know if the biology keeps changing, and there are now men calling themselves women. I and saying that they can get pregnant. I don't understand that. I'm not going. We ain't gonna talk about that. But it takes two people to make a baby. So my logical question would be, well, where's the other guy? Where's the guy at? What happened with that? And then that's when the drama creeps in. That's when the trauma and the drama pops in. Well, his baby daddy, or my baby daddy don't do that, and the daddy did this and he did that, and he's on drugs and da, 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 da. So then my next logical question would be, well, gosh, why would you make such an important investment with a person who's not reliable? Well, because you get tricked and things happen and people deceive you. And okay, I hear all that. Okay, this really goes back to the core of it all. Um, that our ability to invest in that child and get that child what they need is heavily dependent on our commitment to trying to do things the right way, right? What does that look like? Well, what that looks like is um preemptive thinking. I talked to you all about investing. When you make an investment, a financial investment, there's something called due diligence. And due diligence means if I'm sitting on my life savings and somebody asks me to invest a large percentage of my life savings into a company, I'm not going to make that investment in a day or two. I'm going to do my due diligence. I'm going to really take time. I'm going to research the alternatives. I'm going to turn over every rock. I'm going to be extremely careful. And then I'm going to slowly and deliberately make my move. We don't do that when it comes to relationships. We don't. We don't. The fire is not a slow burn. It's usually a spark. You see somebody, they look good. Um, you have a couple of good dates and good conversation. Next thing they're inside your body and possibly getting you pregnant. They're in your bed. They're as close to you as a person can be. You're as vulnerable as you could ever be. That person could kill you. And it's happened, right? And so that preemptive thinking, meaning before the fact, like thinking about things before the fact, doesn't typically happen. Well, why doesn't it happen? Well, because there's various chemicals in your brain. Dopamine is one of them. Dopamine, dope for short. So you get on that dope, and it causes you to lose your freaking mind. And if you look at our society in terms of the society built on instant gratification, there's a lot of us are dope fiends. The good sex will cause you to ruin your whole entire life and have you run around like a single parent with a child who's struggling and they're failing even though you're doing your absolute best. And so in order for us to build the kinds of families that we'd like to build with successful children and successful outcomes, we're going to have to get off the dope. And part of getting off the dope means that we have to have a commitment to healing because a lot of times we turn to the dope because it eases the pain. It eases the pain from whatever we went through as children that we never healed from. A lot of bad parents are just basically damaged children who never ever sat with a therapist, never worked through their problems. And I really think that there should be something, and this is something that would have a massive impact. This would have a multi-trillion-dollar impact on Black wealth. Um, in my view, if you're going to take the responsibility of raising children, you have to also take the responsibility of working through your own shit. Because if you don't, then your shit is going to become your children's shit. You're going to take that crap and dump it on your kids, right? And that's what typically occurs whenever you see something crazy where kids are going through stuff and where because their parents are doing crazy stuff. It's because their parent has stuff from childhood that they never fixed, and now they're carrying that into this sacred process of destroying a child. Like you're supposed to be raising the child, but you're harming them every step of the way because you never fixed it. You never fixed it. And so I can say, this is where take it or leave it. Take it or leave it. This is part Dr. Boyce, part Uncle Boyce. Dr. Boyce has the PhD in finance. Uncle Boyce is just a 53-year-old Black man who's trying to share something that might help somebody. Um, Before I took the responsibility of being the head of a household, I took the responsibility to heal and work on whatever issues I had that might cause me to not be the best leader and steward of that household that I could possibly be. I do not drink and I do not drink, period. I said I don't want to be drunk in front of the kids. I don't want them traumatized by having to watch some old drunk Black man run around scaring the hell out of everybody. I learned little things that never happened with me. I learned how to listen and connect and empathize. I learned all these therapists. I literally had a little toolkit. I wrote down all this. Okay, so if you listen and you write it, if you repeat back what they're saying and then you let them know you understand, then they'll feel heard. And then at that point, you can build up the trust and the connection. I studied it like a scientist because here's the thing. Here's what I want you to understand. This is just my perspective. You ain't got to do nothing with this. You could throw it out the window if you want to. But I remember thinking to myself, I said, if I love myself, I love my community, I love my family, then I need to take my family as seriously as I've ever taken any career or any job in my entire life. And I want you to understand Black folks will study real hard to get a damn job. You will work your butt off to get a job. You will go to school 4 years to get a job. You will do certifications and extra training to get a job. You will put thousands of hours into learning how to do a good job. But are you putting that same energy into learning how to run a good family or to build a good relationship or to be a good, healthy person? The answer is no, we don't do that. Why would you put more energy into preparing for a job than you would put into preparing for life? In order for the world to ever take you seriously, you're going to have to take yourself seriously. And in evidence that you're taking yourself seriously is, are you investing in yourself? Are you investing in those children? Are you investing in that family? Are you investing in that relationship? And investing means gaining the skill to manage that. Like you, if you work at a construction site and you got to manage a forklift, you'll take classes on how to manage a damn forklift. If you're a nurse in a hospital, you'll take classes on how to manage the nursing station. Well, have you taken a class on how to manage that beautiful child that you have in your house? Have you taken? I mean, there's books, there's experts all over the place that can break down how to raise a child without traumatizing them. And those experts, I see them on Instagram. Don't nobody pay attention to them because they all watching Cardi B videos. Ain't nobody paying attention to the people. They got therapists, they got all these people that are begging for your attention, and we ignore them all. And I think it comes down to low self-esteem. They did a study, the lady at Yale, a lady at Yale was studying which cultures are most successful. And one of the things that she found is that the cultures that are most successful tend to have three characteristics in those cultures. Write this down. This is going to help you. One, she said, cultures that are most successful have a strong commitment to family. Like family is everything. You keep the family together no matter what. You submit, you compromise, you work together, you do what you got to do. Commitment to family. Number two, she said they have a commitment to delayed gratification. That they don't need it all right now. They're not hitting. They're not on that dope. They're not looking for the quick fix. They will invest for the future. Um, and the third thing is she said that they have a sense of pride in who they are and what they represent and what their family represents. So that sense of pride in the Black family and having a family, keeping the family together, being successful with the family, building with the family, connecting with the family, pouring into the family. That pride in the Black family is what's going to save the Black family. And I'm talking about for those families that will be saved, because we know not everybody's going to be saved. We know not everybody's gonna be okay. But having that pride and having more pride in your family than you have in your damn job. You don't trade family for a job. Well, we do it all the time. We have people that will say, "Oh, well, I could have built my family, but I had my career and da da da, and became a senior manager at Ford." And how the hell is being a senior manager at Ford more important than raising children and maintaining your legacy? Again, I don't understand it. What did Ford put in your drink? How did they drug you to make you think that somehow that's really important? Well, this is part of the brainwashing. This starts when we're children. This starts when we're children. Because I told you, we love white people. We love them. We love them more than we love each other. We love them more than we love ourselves. So getting validation from big businesses owned by white people is what makes you feel like you made it. That's what makes you feel like you are somebody. Right? Because you're just a Negro until they acknowledge you, right? Apparently. So I would encourage you to just sort of reshape your thinking. And going back to that video with that teacher, where she's basically saying that the difference in these two kids is the amount of time that the parent invests in the child. I think that that's a really deep statement, and it just depends on how deep you want to go down in the rabbit hole. She doesn't invest in the child because she doesn't have the time. She doesn't have the time because she's doing all by herself. She's doing all by herself because either she chose a bad partner or decided that a partner wasn't necessary. And now you're doing a two-person job all by yourself, which is really, really difficult. So in order to avoid that, you have a conversation with the little girl when she's 12, and you explain to her the process of vetting men that she will choose to sleep with and making sure that she does not sleep with men who would not be a good father. She doesn't want to go date the guy who imitates her favorite rapper, because we know rappers are in general, not all of them, but many rappers are very much anti-family. Lil Wayne got 3 girls pregnant in the same year. That's not very pro-family. That's just not very healthy. That's going to get you maybe a couple child support payments, but a lot of STDs and a lot of trauma to go with that. And that's really, unfortunately, that's sort of an unfortunate template that I think a lot of people have subscribed to. I had a conversation with a young lady a long time ago that I used to mentor, and we were listening to. She loved Lil Wayne. We were listening to Lil Wayne, and I said, well, if you could date Lil Wayne, would you date him? She said, yeah. And I said, I said, you know, he got a whole bunch of girls pregnant at the same time. Would you be okay with that? And she said, well, maybe if he was with me, he would be faithful. I said, you really think that he would change and start becoming faithful because he's with you? And this was the mind of a 17-year-old, right? Or 19, 18, 19, something like that. And I wasn't trying to be mean, but I was trying to help her come to the conclusion that no, this would not be a good father for your kids. This is not someone that you trust your body with. I know it sounds cool and hip and it feels good because I get it because I read the biology on what women are attracted to. Women on average are attracted to men that have status, power, and money, but that's the deception. That's the racist deception. They take the absolute worst men in our community and they give them lots of money, power, and status. And then next thing you know, you're begging to get invited to a Diddy party because you think being next to this man is somehow going to make your life better. It's going to change your life, but it's going to change it for the worse, not for the better. So that's the game. This is actually the racial playbook that's been used for many, many years. They've done this all around the world. They did it in India. They did it in parts of Africa. They did it with the Native Americans. With the Native Americans, they did the same thing. They wanted to kill the respect that young people had for their elders. They wanted to get rid of that because the elders would remind you of who you are and cultural traditions and have you speak in your language and wear Native American dress. So here's what they would do. They would recruit the kids when they're young and give them this opportunity to go to these fancy white schools. And in the school, they would just tell them, you cannot wear you cannot wear your native dress. You cannot speak your native language. You do not follow your native culture. So they would whiteify these Native American kids, and then they would send them back to the village and they would give them lots of money and lots of power. So then what would happen is the kids behind them they would look at the elder, and the elder is broke. The elder ain't got no money, but they see this other guy who's got the fancy clothes and the fancy job, and they say, I want to be like him. And next thing you know, they would start disrespecting the elders and start looking up to the buffoons, the clowns, the people that don't know who they are. That's exactly the playbook they do in the black community. The wisdom, the wealth in the black community comes from the elders. The wealth in our community comes from the Dr. Claude Andersons and the people that understand who you are and how to build and how to create great families and everything else. Those are the people that can provide guidance for you. They can help you to figure out how to solve problems in your marriage. These are the ones that can help you figure out how to make your family secure, how to raise children properly. But we don't listen to the elders. We'll listen to a 27-year-old with 20 million Instagram followers whose life is a complete mess, and we will pay attention to that person because some white man gave them a record deal. This is all by design. Money is a big part of this. This is the money. Money is the tool. Money is the weapon. Money is the motive. That's what makes you pay attention to certain people. So then even little girls are like, I don't want that guy. That guy, he goes to school. He works hard every day. That's nerdy. That's corny. That's not interesting. I want this other guy over here because he's exciting. This is cool. He's famous. He's got money. He looks like somebody that I admire who's famous and has money. And then that ends up disrupting the culture. And the next thing you know, you got a bunch of kids with daddies that are not good daddies and mothers that are traumatized and sad because their child's father refuses to spend any time with him, and that leads to those hard questions like, well, why? What made you? Who tricked you into picking him to be the father of your kid? And it's not just the women as well; it's the men too. I talked to a guy who it's really actually if you look at the research. If you have mommy issues or daddy issues, you probably want to get work on that because we tend to marry and date our parents. I didn't realize till I was 40 some years old that I've dated my mama about 3 times. I told my mom that yesterday. I said, I keep on dating you in my relationships, and that's been good and bad at the same time because it's reliving high school, and so ultimately what I would say is that so it's not just women though, right? I knew a guy who had mommy issues, right? His mother wasn't around, and he was a really smart guy. He had a PhD, and I remember I saw him. I hadn't seen him for a long time, and and I said, "So how you doing, man?" He said, "Man, terrible." And I said, "What's going on?" He said, "Dude, man, this girl done had my baby, and now she trying to take me to child support court and take all my money." Now, mind you, this guy's a professor. Like he's a PhD, real PhD level, but he's like going through these like Negro blues, right, over his baby mama, right? So it doesn't matter how much education you have; it can happen to everybody. And basically after I talked to him, I found out that the lady that had his child was a stripper. No disrespect to any strippers in the room. I know some strippers can be very smart. I went to a bachelor party once and we went to Magic City and there were strippers that I had to go because I was the groomsman. I had to make sure that that the groom was okay. And but I was so fascinated that I was like, wow, I've never stood next to a naked lady that I don't even know. This is crazy. So I would just talk to them. And first of all, I learned strippers are really athletic. They're really great athletes and they're pretty smart actually. The ones I talked to, at least the ones I talked to, were pretty intelligent people. But I wouldn't. But to be honest with you, no disrespect if you're a stripper, I wouldn't marry a stripper, and I wouldn't have a baby with one. I'm sorry, no disrespect. Somebody will marry you, but it won't be me. It wouldn't. I'm sorry, no, sorry. Anyway, so so but he had a baby. He met this stripper that looked good. And he slept with her, and next thing you know, she's the mother of his child. And I was sitting there just thinking, so what made you do that? Like, that wasn't very strategic. And when I went to the core of it, what I found out also is that he had significant issues with his mother. So what that translated into was he had a lot of anger toward women. There's a lot of just disrespect toward women. And his dating choices and mating choices were reflective of that. So I want you to think about it like this, right? So here you got this very intelligent black man who had issues with his mother, and it caused him to have a really distorted perspective on women. And then I want you to flip it and look at the fact that three-quarters of all black women grow up without their father in the house. Three-quarters of them. And then some of them see their dads on a regular basis, and I think a lot of us we underestimate that. We act like, oh, it's okay, like they're good. Their mothers were happy, and their mothers treated them well, and they're fine. And I don't know if that's the healthiest way to look at it because I think if we had three-quarters of all black men growing up without their mother, we would consider that to be a national health crisis, a mental health crisis. Do you understand? Do you get what I'm saying? And so I would almost say that if your relationships are not turning into what you want them to be, you probably need to start with yourself. Don't be tempted to just think that it's everyone else, that it's the world and all men do this or all women do that. It's got to start with you because even if the world is screwed up, you still have the right to choose. You still get to choose which person you want next to you. You can choose the screwed up person or the not screwed up person. I jokingly said with my wife, my wife has an ex-husband. He's a great guy and I like him. We get along real well. And I joked with the kids. I said, well, if something happens to us, y'all gonna be paid because your mama she don't mess around with broke men. Me and your other daddy, we both got money, so y'all gonna be all right because your mama ain't wouldn't. I've known her as she's been my friend a long time, and she ain't never slept with men that didn't have nothing going on. She didn't like lazy men. She didn't like ignorant men. She didn't like reckless, irresponsible men, and it translated into the fact that both of her husbands, her ex-husband and me, both are financially secure. And also she didn't like men that were stupid. She would make jokes and she'd say, "Yeah, I liked that boy until I found out that he had bad grades." But the advantage that I told her that she had though is I said, well, remember though, your father was a college professor. And that shaped your perspective. You did not think that a dumb man was attractive, but there are some women whose fathers were stupid and crazy and ignorant. And so they might like the stupid, crazy, ignorant guy, which means they end up having stupid, crazy, ignorant kids and stupid, crazy, ignorant situations, right? So there's some parts of us that are broken, all of us. I think all of us have something that can be tweaked and fixed. And if you tweak it and fix it, what it'll do is it'll just give you discernment and help you understand your blind spots so you don't make bad investments. You learn how to vet people properly so you know the difference between what you want and what you need. And that's really me telling on myself because I've had to go through that same journey. And I don't think you ever really master it, but you can minimize the damage because there's a whole lot of damage that occurs when people just make whatever decision feels good. If you're on that dope and you're always making decisions that feel right in the moment, you are probably going to struggle and you're probably going to fail. So that's it. That's it, guys. By the way, okay, so I mentioned to you all that I would give you a list of stocks that you can buy for under $10 today. The link, I thought I had the link to give that to you now. I don't have the link. So here's what I'll do. I'll text it out to you this afternoon So make sure you're on the text list. If you want to be on the text list for this class and get an invitation to Money in the Morning, text the word morning, MORNING, to the number 87948. Thank you, John Trey. Text morning, or you can text money to 87948, either one. But morning, text morning to 87948. I'll send that list out this afternoon. I got to talk to Christian and get that list from him, or get the link from him, because I thought I had it. And I'll send you guys out that list. Again, not investing advice ever, but it is a list of stocks that I looked at and I did the research, and I like what I see. And that's, but you invest in a broad portfolio so you can be protected in case one of the stocks doesn't do well, then another one will do well. That's why you diversify. Okay. So make sure you text the word morning, MORNING, to 87948. Also, don't forget the All Black National Convention is coming very, very soon now. About 3 weeks from now. If you'd like to join us in Chicago for our annual think tank family reunion, etc., just go to allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. So have a good day, everybody. I'll see you all tomorrow morning. Take care now.